everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing a comparison between a Subaru BRZ and a Subaru WRX. Now, I know this comparison is very strange, and yeah, I agree with you on that, but here's the deal. Google search results show me that a lot of people are looking up WRX versus BRZ, so we're going to do it today. Before we get in this video, though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Nate Wade Subaru here in Salt Lake City, Utah for providing me with both the cars. Both of these are available for sale for the time being, so if you're interested, I'll include a link to their inventory in the description down below. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money, the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Under the hood of the BRZ, we have a naturally aspirated 2.4 liter flat four cylinder that goes through a 6-speed manual transmission. Power outputs are 228 horsepower and then 184 pound-feet of torque, with fuel economy being 20 around town and then 27 on the highway. And then under the hood of the WRX, we have a turbocharged 2.4 liter flat four cylinder that also goes through a 6-speed manual transmission. Power outputs with this are 271 horsepower and then 258 pound-feet of torque, with fuel economy being 19 around town and then 26 on the highway. And well, I find the engine specs absolutely fascinating because the BRZ is not turbocharged and it has rear-wheel drive as opposed to the all-wheel drive that the WRX has, and it's obviously lighter weight, but it barely gets better fuel economy. So the WRX engine setup's looking pretty spicy right now. Now, before we go over the front ends, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Now, starting with the front end of the BRZ, you guys can see here with the lights, I love the style with it, and then look at like the whole grille and everything. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. And then comparing that with the WRX, you guys can see you've got the hood scoop there in the center, and then look at the difference in terms of the style of the lights. You have the fog lights down below, and then you guys can see with the metallic gray grille as well. Now, popping around the side here with the BRZ, we have a tire and wheel setup of 215/40/18 on the front and in the rear, and then with the WRX is 245/40/18 on the front and in the rear. So the WRX has slightly wider tires, but the wheels are the same size. Now, the next thing to note is the sides of the cars. You guys can see we don't have any fender flare action here with the BRZ, but with the WRX, we obviously have the very now famous fender flares, I guess is what we will say. And then notice with the mirror caps, both body painted, and then with the WRX, you've got like that side skirt, and then with the BRZ, it's like all body painted. You actually have this venting piece here where you've got fender flare action with the WRX. And then obviously 2-door versus 4-door. And look, they both actually have hips there in the back. Pretty cool. Now, obviously, both being Subarus, they both have the same exact key fobs. However, one thing I do want to mention is you can see with the BRZ trunk, it's not really open. The WRX trunk, though, is quite open, so I guess the popper with the WRX wins with the trunk. But you guys can see the storage space here in the back of the WRX, definitely practical. Oh, so much effort. I'm just kidding. Anyways, with the BRZ, obviously 2-door car, much smaller car, so not nearly as much trunk space. Now, finishing things up with the style of the rear ends, notice that the taillights are pretty much identical with the vehicles. Now, diving into some more stuff with the WRX, you guys can see we actually have some carbon fiber here on the back end, which is really cool. And then look at like the diffuser setup with the exhaust tips. Definitely aggressive. Now, comparing that to the BRZ, I feel like the BRZ's design's a little bit cleaner than the WRX, it's a little bit more simplistic. And then this is where you can see the size difference. So I have them parked relatively like in line with the front end, so you can see how much longer the WRX is than the BRZ. Now we're gonna do a quick overview of the BRZ's interior before we drive both of them. You guys can see here with the material use on the door panel, I think that looks very premium. Automatic for the windows, and there's a quick look at the mirror. And then we're actually gonna move the seat out of the way with this little lever. We actually do have back seats here with the BRZ. Now, they're better for storage than for people because not a lot of legroom or headroom. Now, with these front seats, I think they look really cool. Actually, you guys can see super like heavily bolstered. Look at all of the red accenting as well. And then of course we got our 3-pedal layout here at the bottom. And getting into the BRZ, let's see how easy this is. Kind of stuffs me in a little bit. Oh, there we go. So here is the steering wheel before we start it up. You can see again with the leather trim, and look at the red stitching. You've got the cruise control there in the back, volume controls, voice command controls, so a lot of practical stuff, but let's start her up. Nice. I like the animation there. Yeah, that's fun. That's one of the cool things about the BRZ, and let's actually also hear the door. Solid sound with the closing. But the cool party trick is changing the drive mode. So if I actually hold this down for a moment, you can see that it changes how the gauge cluster looks when you pop it into the track mode, so I think that's fun. And then let's see what the camera is like. Pretty good resolution. Trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel as well. And with the infotainment system, pretty responsive with the screen, so that's solid. And then we got dual zone climate controls just down below, as you can see. And then here's the shifter. We'll talk about the shifters more at the driving portion, but reverse lockout is pull up and go over like that, if you're wondering. Got a regular brake here, some nice red stitching. Stability control, and then you can see your drive mode select right next to that. Heated seats, and we got like a little console thing. And then you can see here, just hard touch on the dash there, and pretty normal glove box. And then no sunroof or anything like that. And with the WRX, we actually have, well, a usable backseat area. So you guys can see with the door panel here with the limited package, actually really nice material use. We got carbon fiber print. And then look at these seats. Really cool. But yeah, like I can actually pop back here. As you can see, I fit back here very comfortably. And then popping over to the front with the WRX, you can see that continues with the really nice padding and stitching here up front. All of our window controls, and then look at the carbon fiber print there. And then WRX there in the seat. I really like these seats here with this limited package. And then your adjustments here. And then of course, 3-pedal layout. And see how this one sounds? A little bit more solid, I feel like. With the steering wheel, I think the BRZ steering wheel is a little bit cooler. Feels better with the material used too compared to the WRX here, but carbon fiber there at the bottom is pretty cool. Start this one up. Oh yeah, BRZ definitely wins the gauge cluster too, let me tell you. This one looks cool, but it's more analog, and I don't know, I think I like the digital in the BRZ a little bit more. And then popping this into reverse. Backup camera, pretty solid with the trajectory lines and everything. And then this infotainment system, definitely quite a bit bigger. Notice we got like heated seats here with this. We also have dual zone climate controls with it, which is pretty sweet. Now with the manual WRX, we don't really have any like driving modes that we can go through, so I guess it's in sport mode all the time. But good infotainment system nonetheless. Got like a little charging area down below. And then again, we'll talk about shifter feel during the driving portion, but reverse lockout's actually the opposite, so it's up and back. This one still have regular brake, doesn't have cool red stitching on it though. And then more storage here, and you can see with the center console how it like pops up and down. I think that's pretty cool. And then for the glove box, and then yeah, look at the stitching and padding there on the dash. And then we actually have a sunroof here with the WRX. Now when it comes to pricing, both of these have the limited package, so I feel like that's as comparable as it gets. The WRX stickers for about $39,600, and then the BRZ stickers for about $33,600, so there is a $6,000 price difference between them. Let's drive them. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off here in the BRZ. You can see visibility over the hood, both of the mirrors, and throughout the rest of the rear. And I gotta love these manual seats. It's always interesting trying to get exactly adjusted the best for the manual transmission. But let's set off here in the BRZ. Yeah, I feel like I'm still not like in the exact right. Let's see. That's super far. I give up. We'll just go with it. we will just go with it. But I love the shifter so far initially, just here in the parking lot. It feels pretty dang notchy with getting it into gear. And oh yeah, that's great. This is easy to drive. Clutch is great. I will say that. And the engagement's really good with this. I think that's really solid. Yeah, I love the feel. I'm gonna pop it straight into the track mode, even though we don't need it. I just like the gauge view. It looks so much, I don't know, I like both of them, but I think that the track view just looks so much cooler. But also I feel like it eggs you on because it like we're at 2,000 RPMs roughly, and it looks like we're not anywhere. It's like, hey, you got to rev it up if you want to show that you're using any RPMs. So I think that's kind of fun. Love the feeling of the steering wheel. Definitely good job from just the tactile standpoint. Decent amount of road noise. Kind of expected with a car like this, to be honest. Yeah, the shifter's so good. Rev match downshifting, it doesn't have automatic, by the way. It's all U. It's pretty easy because flat 4 cylinders are very blippable with the throttle. And so it's pretty easy to rev match downshift. So I think that's definitely a big plus. Man, I am not in the right seating position whatsoever. I am struggling today. Yeah, solid with the acceleration there. Of course, we gotta instantly stop again because, well, you know, Salt Lake City traffic here. Man, I don't understand why this thing kind of curves up like that. It's kind of weird. But get a little turn here. That feels good. It's very flat. So much torque out of this, honestly. Again, only 184 pound-feet, but you gotta remember, this is a lightweight car, so it doesn't need massive power to get it up and moving. The suspension's surprisingly compliant for the type of car that this is. It's actually pretty comfortable, especially over bumps. Like, it stays planted, so like the body control is great, but it's also like it's not jarring, if that makes sense. This will be a good time for us to have to downshift. Oh, yeah, those downshifts are like perfect. Super torquey. It's so fun. It's a fun car. Okay, anyways, continuing along a little bit further here with the BRZ. Gotta go over this little dip thing. So yeah, the BRZ, I mean, as like a two-door sports car, it's really fun. The shifter's great, the steering's great, the body control is also fantastic. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Check by visibility here at the WRX. Before we set off, here's your visibility of the hood, both of the mirrors, throughout the rest of the rear, and, well, let's try to get my seating position correct here. It's always interesting to try to get your seat where it should be when you are driving a manual, but good thing it has power seats, because that makes it easy, because you can just kind of like inch forwards and backwards until you get the position correct. Love the sound of this. It's so deep. It's just like a really nice, deep, throaty sound. Now, one thing I am noting is the steering wheel material. It's nice, but, you know, like, I was just in a BRZ before this, and I feel like the steering wheel on that was nicer. Wow, this revs up fast. Yeah, that's crazy. And that revs up really, really quickly. I like that a lot. Still trying to get my seating position figured out. Sorry, folks. These seats, by the way, are very comfortable. They're almost too narrow for me. I've got pretty big legs, but they're just wide enough. And then the backrest and everything is also just wide enough. I love these seats. I love the inserts on them. They're super comfortable. Super comfortable. Or should I say they're Subu comfortable. Subi comfortable. Okay, I'm done. Anyways. Oh, so blippable. Again, I just drove a BRZ before this, and I feel like this engine is more blippable than, it's the same engine but turbocharged, but it's somehow more blippable. I don't know why, but it just, this likes to rev up way more than the BRZ engine. And you have so much torque. Oh man, this is such a good car. Wow, that's, yeah, I mean, I'm having a great time. I don't know about you guys watching this, but I'm having a good time. So some other stuff here. This interior is, you know, not as cool as the GT. Don't get me wrong, that interior is a little bit cooler, but, you know, a lot of people complained that you couldn't get like a cool enough WRX because they left all the cool stuff for the GT that's automatic only. I think that this limited WRX is cool enough, in my opinion, and I think it drives really well. Wow. Yeah, this thing's fun. Really torquey. Gears are pretty dang short. Yeah, they're a lot shorter than the BRZ gears. Like, even slow down here a little bit. I think the thing that helps out is the torque from the turbocharged engine. It helps with just getting you through these gears a lot faster. It takes the BRZ quite a bit longer to build torque. I'm noticing that. By the way, if you're watching this and you're confused why I'm talking about a BRZ, I'm using this video as comparison for the BRZ, and then also for my WRX review as well. So, summing things up here with the WRX, this is my favorite version of the WRX, the Limited. The GT, I think, has a nicer interior, but it only comes in automatic, and I'm a manual fan. I think most people are manual fans. The automatic in the WRX is actually a lot better than I expected, but this is really good. And the suspension's so amazing. Like, it seriously soaks up bumps really well. Like, there's so much travel with this suspension. It's really impressive, actually. Look at that. That is a pink. Wow. That is very pink. Pink 86. That is mega pink. Wow. But yeah, the suspension's really good. The shifter action is amazing. I'm a huge fan. I don't think you need to get the G, like everyone talks about the adjustable dampers in the GT. I've driven it, they're great, but the standard suspension on the WRX is honestly good enough that don't feel like you're missing out because you can't get the GT package with the manual.